Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with a public service announcement. Don't get in the ring. Don't even jump the rail at a local WWE show when they come to your town. Honestly, all day long I've been laughing about this because it's been the talk of the town. It was in the dirt sheets yesterday. They talked about it on Cheap Heat. Basically the guy that hopped the guardrail and jumped into the ring acting like he was the third member of the Shield to be the mystery opponent of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns going up against the Wyatts. The guy got sentenced. He's actually going to do jail time, which I hear is going to be 10 days. You're going to get in trouble. Anytime you jump the rail or have any kind of physical contact with a wrestler, they're gonna not only kick you out, they're probably gonna tell the cops to do something with you and press charges as much as they can. But I'm trying to think over my history of being a wrestling fan and going to a lot of shows. I don't think I've ever been fired up enough to jump the rail and get into there. I think I've always known that it's some sort of a show, and it is what it is, but I don't think I've ever got really fired up enough that I wanted to go in there and actually take a shot at a wrestler or maybe even try to protect him. I know that Stone Cold Steve Austin used to tell this funny story all the time. His show's been going on so long that maybe he's noticed that he's told the story 15, 20 times. But Austin talks about watching Dusty Rhodes. I can't remember who he's wrestling in the main event on television. And, he's getting beat up. The wrestler's beating him with a chain, and Dusty's getting all bloody. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, as a little kid, looks back at his mom and says, "Mom, why isn't that security guard helping out Dusty?" And the mom just rolled her eyes at Austin because, I don't know, she just didn't want to tell him it was fake, or she couldn't believe that he didn't know it was a work, or this, that, and the other. But I can tell you a funny story, though, honestly. When I was a kid, I talked about these a lot. When WWF would come to town in Sacramento here, they used to come here a lot for television tapings, which at the time was WWF Superstars. It was a little bit of a different show. Now at least when you watch Superstars on the WWE Network, you see guys like Jack Swagger against Fandango, I guess. You're two guys that have name value, even though they're not being really used in anything. You see guys like Damien Sandow, this, that, and the other. Maybe you see a guy like Rusev in the mid-card, but you don't really see any main eventers on there. And that's really how they built up guys back in the day, was putting them on Superstars. They'd have those guys in matches, but they would wrestle against like no names, nobodies, just straight flat out jobber enhancement matches. And they would try and build these guys up by watching these guys get victories on television. And you'd watch 4 weeks of Superstars and you might see the same guy wrestle in 4 different matches, and he got 4 wins in a row to make you think this guy's on a streak and he can't be beaten. You don't really realize that these guys aren't anybody in this match with them. We were at these shows, and they would honestly go on for like 5 hours to get weeks and weeks of television built up, to fill up all the syndicated shows that they would be doing. And at the very end of the show, you'd get a main event of like Hulk Hogan against Sergeant Slaughter in a Desert Storm match, and that's really what you're paying to see. You came to see Hogan. It's fun to see guys like Jake the Snake Roberts, Sid Vicious, Macho Man, but they're out there wrestling these matches against nobodies that are in the ring, and it is what it is. And even as a kid, it draws on you like, man, we've been here a long freaking time. And when we got to the show, we sat there in our seats and we looked over a section over, and there was my baseball coach with his 2 kids. His name was Dave. And I'm saying, look, I told my dad, like, look, there's my coach, there's Dave. So we, say hi to him. We talk to him for a few minutes. The show goes on, and the Mountie gets into the ring, and the Mountie starts running down everybody. He's calling everybody in Sacramento a sissy, and nobody has the guts to get in the ring and see what they can do with him. He's basically having an open invitation, trying to get anybody to come out of the back. But at the same time, he's calling everybody sissies and talking bad about Sacramento, trying to get heat so everybody would boo him and know that he's the bad guy. And what eventually would happen would Sid Vicious, Sid Justice at the time, just making his debut in WWF, would come down, beat up the Mountie, and then you would know he was the baby face, and cheer that guy. And eventually you would cheer him when you watched him on television, knew that he was the good guy, and he's the next Hulk Hogan apprentice that everybody was thinking was going to take over. But as the Mountie is running down Sacramento, I look up from my seat and I notice my baseball coach has gotten very, very close to the ring, and he's being held back by 3 guys. The agents that came out of the back to hold this guy back, and I'm yelling at my dad, "Look, there's Dave! Look, there's Dave!" But my dad's actually getting into watching the wrestling, and he's like, everybody's booing the Mountie and all that, and I'm like, "Dad, no! Look, there's Dave!" And I point down, and my baseball coach has jumped the rail, and he's made his way towards the ring, and he's trying to get in there. Basically, they start bringing him back towards the back, and he jumps the rail to come back to his seat once everything is calmed down. And as a kid, I used to have this picture that I took of Sid Justice when he made his debut and he came out, and I took his picture, and in the picture you can actually see my baseball coach Dave being led over the rail by the 3 agent security guards, and basically they kicked him out. I remember that we had to go to the front door because his 2 kids were at the door, and basically my dad negotiated to bring his 2 kids in, and he would watch them during the show. But Dave had to sit out the rest of the night, so he drove to the local A&P and got some beer and sat in his car and drank them. A couple Steve Weisers, you know what I mean? But don't jump the rail. They'll kick you out. You get in the ring, you even try to do something, they'll probably kick your ass, NWO, WCW style. So you don't want none of that. So don't jump the rail in professional wrestling.